So if you can't win it, don't play it. Play with TBC. Start start.
Go your own way.
Yeah, get a new economy rolling, and that's what TBC is doing. You have a new economy forming, even though it's so small, right? You have only 2.8 million people with TBC.
Yeah, very small. However, the financial empowerment for the TBC community, the economic empowerment sort of leverages us into, being able to usurp the current monetary system. We can choose to drop it, leave it, and no longer depend on it in order to sustain ourselves. If we bring the TBC concept into our lives and embrace it and create our own economy, create our own form of financial substance, then now we're starting anew, and we don't even need to participate in the old economy anymore.
Yeah, I was just talking with Michelle Cockerham. I've been dealing with her for the last, 8 months or so. She's tried to buy a car with TBC. She went to the dealerships. She was working, and it's not over. She's not done, but at least she's in the process. You have to make your own deals. And then another one that I've also worked with probably over a year now, Ann Dykman. She is now working on a property deal to purchase property using TBC.
All you need is two people in agreement. I mean, that's the original transaction, right? The original exchange.
You have currency. It means that it's going to be a method of exchange, between two people. It's an agreement of an exchange with no other things behind it, right?
That's
okay,
right.
We have an agreement. Here's an amount of currency. That's what we're dealing with here, and it's very difficult for some people to really say, well, no, it has to be in dollars,
right? And it has to have some kind of third-party backup system. It has to have, a bank behind it. It has to be an institution behind it. There has to be a government behind it. Guys, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be that way if you got two people in agreement.
Yeah, there's no reason that someone needs to be between us. Okay, I've got my chicken, he's got a duck. We can exchange it.
How about if I take my phone and I want to change for Dan's computer? So they're probably, cost the same amount at new. and what if we exchange? Guys, once we do that exchange, we don't need anyone else to tell us, who said what was valuable enough or whatever. Guys, it's peer to peer. That's really what all of this is. That's what we're trying to return to. We're trying to bring back finances and transactions of goods and services back into the hands on the you and me level. That's what it's really all about.
And even though we're broadcasting this live across the world, right? And this is an agreement between me and him. It's a private agreement.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's secret.
Yeah.
It means it's private between us, even if you know about it, even if you saw the contract.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that it is now public.
Yeah, it's a private agreement.
Public is things that the government does, right? So if you keep things in the public and you do an initial public offering of stock, those are the rules of the public, of the government. If you have an ICO, does that mean that you're going to be having regulations by the government because it's now public? If you're so anxious to run into ICOs, everyone's, oh yeah, ICO, I'm doing an ICO. Where did that terminology come from? You're going to follow the same model as the stock markets, really? I'm going to follow that, and then where you're going to end up is with regulation by McDonald's. USA Inc.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more to view, a lot more to look at when you're really asking yourself, well, what does all of this really mean? What's the point that we're trying to make? Guys, we're just talking about sovereignty and solvency, right? That's a new term we're going to use now. Sovereignty and solvency. We can do whatever we want, when we want, on the me and you level, and we don't need it to be a public affair in order to do that. It's a private affair, and hey, you know what? Here's what we need a government for. This is the only time we need a government. We have a private agreement, and I decide to break the agreement, and Dan says, hey, you can't break that agreement, and I say, well, yes, I can. And now Dan says, okay, now let's go get the legal system to work out a difference between the two of us.
Or an arbiter, or someone that we agree to say, hey, there's differences.
That's right.
So it's always about